Abraham Lincoln dead?
Never. He's immortal.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Invincible Podcast, probably the best superhero podcast in the universe. This is a show where friends get to talk all things Invincible, a comic book written by Robert Kirkman. On today's episode, we're going to be continuing our new reader series, where we talk to friends who have never read the Invincible series before and follow along as they experience it for the first time. So joining me for this, as always, is Liz.
Hi, guys.
I made it through without you guys making me laugh.
I just couldn't look at your face. Brittany was cracking me up. But hi, everyone.
How are you doing, Brittany?
Good.
So yeah, it's been, I don't know, maybe a little over a month, and we're here to talk all about the Ultimate Collection Volume 10, which includes issues 109 to 120. But yeah, how have you been? I know a lot's been going on. Liz, today was your last day of classes?
Yes, it was my last day of classes, and I get to walk across the stage on Saturday.
Aww.
That's so exciting, because
know.
I feel like a year ago, because it's been, I think, a year this month that you guys started doing this with me. You were starting your thesis and everything, right?
Yeah.
Like working on it, and so it's exciting that here you are. Today's your last class.
It's accepted. It's in. It's done. I can't wait.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I know I'm going to be crying like a baby. It's like such a long time coming, you know? So yes.
So exciting. And Brittany, you get to start a new job tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm super nervous.
Yeah.
I'm nervous, but I'm not nervous.
You'll be fine.
You'll be fabulous.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be that kind of like
But
new school thing.
I won't be able to work with you anymore, Ryan.
I know. It's going to suck.
We can't work weddings anymore together.
Oh, darn. I don't want to work weddings anymore. No, that's not for me, but it'll be all right. A lot of change happening, and it's good change, though, so it's exciting. I want to go over a few emails before we jump into this. Remember, you can email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. Our first email comes from... Actually, it's going to be an email that we talked about on the last episode, on the last new issue episode, where we talked with Sean Aitchison. He actually wrote to us, and he wanted to know if we caught on to the similarities that Invincible has to Dragon Ball Z, and how the series involves like really strong aliens that want to take over Earth, villains becoming allies, and a lot of family drama and all that kind of stuff. And Bill, TJ, and I had never watched Dragon Ball Z before. I mean, Bill had watched some of it with you, Liz.
Yeah, well, we started watching it a year ago, but I grew up watching it with my brother. We would watch it every week and night at like 5:30.
Grew up watching it? I didn't know Dragon Ball Z was that old of a show.
Well, I shouldn't say grew up watching it. I think I was like middle school.
Yeah, like for some reason I thought it was newer. Maybe because my only experience to it was like the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I saw that movie.
Don't just ignore it.
Oh man,
that was a movie.
Don't.
Yeah, there was a movie, like a live action movie.
No.
Oh.
No.
Yeah. Liz is like, no.
It's like Avatar. How terrible that movie
Really?
was.
Oh.
And that's like that movie for Dragon Ball Z. That's how terrible it
I
is.
loved that movie.
What?
I was Googling like when the next one was going to come out.
Really?
I mean, it's a really cool concept, right? Did you ever watch the show?
No.
Okay, so watch
So like
the show.
I don't know much about Dragon Ball Z. Like, is the concept kind of has that like Sean's saying, it's got
It definitely
a lot
does.
of relationships and
Oh yeah, well, especially because the father-son relationship specifically.
Really?
Yeah, of Goku and Gohan, and how he gets his powers and how they're constantly fighting, and then he realizes how strong his son actually is.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely lots of
Definitely
parallels, and especially like the aliens constantly trying to come to take over Earth, but the species themselves are already aliens, so it's very similar.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool. I feel like after we're done recording, I'm going to have to watch the trailer for that movie, because it's one of those things that I honestly, I remember seeing it, but I've literally erased it from my memory.
Yeah.
I can't even picture anything. I can't picture anything.
Did you ever watch Shameless?
No, but I know it. I've seen,
because
I've seen it before.
the guy that's like the main boyfriend, Jimmy, is the main character in
Really?
Dragon Ball Z.
Was
and
Goku in the movie?
hysterical. Yeah.
Wow, I don't remember it.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So moving on, we also got an email from Jalen Lee. He says, "Dear Invincible Podcast crew, my name is Jalen Lee. I'm 22 years old and I live in Bakersfield, California. First, let me say that you guys are awesome. I really enjoy listening to the podcast. I really appreciate all the work you guys do to put out the videos. I am happy that there are others that share my love for Invincible. After reading a new issue, I can't wait to look through it again and follow along with you guys when you review the issues. It's also fantastic that you guys get your wives into reading Invincible, and it inspired my girlfriend to start reading and listening to your guys' podcast with me. I started reading Invincible 3 years ago. The first time I read Invincible was in trade form, and quickly after reading Volume 1, went to my local comic shop to see if they had any issues, and luckily they had some early issues along with current ones at the time. After catching up, I've been buying and reading issues monthly. Can't wait for the last couple issues and more videos from you guys. From Jalen Lee. So just to fill in everybody, we don't actually videotape these episodes, but I do put them on YouTube just as the audio form. So I loved getting this email because it's cool, like confirmation that people are watching. People are watching these videos that I'm putting on there. So that was inspiration for me to catch up, and so now YouTube should be caught up and releasing the same time as everywhere else. So that was a great email. Thank you, Jalen.
Yeah, and I'm excited that his girlfriend is reading it.
Isn't that cool?
It is really cool.
And you said wives, Jalen. Bill, obviously, his wife is Liz.
Hey.
My wife is actually not reading it yet. But
is she going to? Is she going to break down?
She says that she will. She says she will. She just hasn't yet.
Okay.
But she'll read it eventually. And then part of me is wondering, like, oh, maybe I'll wait till the movie, and I'm gonna be really excited for the movie because then I want to hear other people's perspective that haven't read it.
Yeah,
so
that's
I feel like
smart.
there has to be somebody around instead of but there will be, and there'll be plenty of stuff to talk about there.
Mm-hmm.
Another email from Luke Lizaldi. Sorry if I pronounced her last name wrong, but Luke says, I'm kicking myself for not discovering this podcast earlier. This past Sunday, I did a random search to see if anyone had started an Invincible podcast. I did a double take when I saw it. Now I can enjoy old episodes. It will be like rereading Invincible trades. A little about my history of Invincible. I started around issue 30 or 31. Of course, I picked up the trades and devoured them in a matter of hours. Invincible instantly became my favorite book, and I often gift it to others in hopes they will start to read it. I remember when issue 33 came out and meeting Ryan Ottley at San Diego Comic-Con. He was sitting at a table there with no line. I bought a signed issue from him and thanked him for delivering the strong art each issue. And his favorite Kirkman story at the time, I met him on a free comic book day. He discussed a comic book concept called Pregnant Cat on a now defunct podcast called Fanboy Radio. I drew the 4-panel comic and took it to have him sign it. He signed it and said, "That's not how the inside of a cat's womb would look." So anyway, I just want to thank you guys for doing this podcast. Like the comic book, this has instantly become one of my favorite podcasts. I will gladly tune into each new episode. You have a faithful listener for as long as you guys are willing to do the podcast. Best, Luke. Also, my 2 cents about Universal and comic book movies. Universal was responsible for my favorite comic book movie, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And Luke, I forgot. Liz is freaking out. Like,
I'm pointing at you.
I love that movie. How did we not bring up Scott Pilgrim? We were on our movie episode where we talked about the movie. We talked about all the superhero movies that Universal has done.
Yeah.
And there's they've done like the Hulk movies. They did like Megamind. They did. Wait, did they do Kick-Ass? I don't know, but I completely forgot about Scott Pilgrim because
Kick-Ass. I love Kick-Ass.
Well, but then there's the whole like Kick-Ass 2 because then people are like, yeah.
Okay, so we talked about Kick-Ass. That's where I'll leave it.
Yeah. And then but I love Scott Pilgrim. It's in like my top 5 favorite movies.
Yeah.
I love that movie. And what's funny is I almost think of it just as much of a video game movie as I do comic book movie. I know it's based on Brian Lee O'Malley's comic. I mean, it's an awesome comic book as itself, but the comic itself has so many video game references and all the noises and like they did the movie so well. I mean, between that, this world that now has superhero movies like Deadpool and Logan, I mean, I'm hoping Universal is willing to take a chance. So this is the first time you two have been on the podcast since the movie's been announced. Like, what did you think of that?
First, I'm obsessed with James Franco, and I know he's really good friends with Seth Rogen. So I'm hoping that he's going to be a cameo or be in the movie at some point.
Now, TJ actually thought his brother.
Yes.
For Rex
Dave.
Because he's a little bit more like kind of scrawny, kind of like he can be a dick and kind of I don't know, Dave Franco.
I mean, he's got a great smile too. Like they get me every time, those Franco boys. Yeah, I could definitely see that. But I'm excited for the movie. I'm sure you guys talked about. I didn't listen to the episode.
Yeah, which is cool. If you guys want to listen to it, we don't talk about any spoilers.
I didn't know if I could.
You're welcome to listen to the movie episode.
You know, I am nervous that it's not going to be as. I mean, how could it be? But
in depth.
Yes, but that's a movie, I guess. I love where the creative aspect is coming from, so I can't wait to see what they do with it. I think it's going to be hysterical. Like, it needs
it's
that
interesting,
comedy touch.
Like, it's interesting. Seth Rogen, I know there's humor in Invincible, but as soon as I heard Seth Rogen, like, all of a sudden, all the humor started coming out to me, and I think it might be funnier than I anticipate.
Yes.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with how Deadpool came out. I mean, that it's hilarious. I love that movie, but yeah, I hope it's a little bit more dramatic and where it needs to be.
And it has to be rated R, right?
It has to be.
It would have to be.
It has to be.
I mean, depending on how far they go.
Well, that's the thing. We've talked about that in the episode too. I mean, I feel like the first movie could probably get away with PG-13, but I mean,
with Seth Rogen.
But again, with Seth Rogen, the kind of humor he might want to incorporate.
Was Paul rated R?
Oh, I bet.
Okay.
It had to have been.
Yeah. So
that's a good point. Yeah. And you know, I wonder if Paul was Universal. Part of me feels like it was.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh my god, I've never seen these movies you guys are talking about.
Well, Paul has Simon Pegg in it. And
and he's wearing
an Invincible t-shirt in it.
And I was so excited. I'm like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, Billy, look, you know?
Oh my god.
But that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Another movie I'm going to have to watch.
Yeah. I want to say Robert Kirkman and Ryan Ottley were actually on set for that movie, and they were just extras in the background. And Kirkman, cool. I can't remember exactly, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Kirkman was writing the script for issue 100 or something like that at the time. Like, he was doing something at the bar in the background of the movie. So pretty cool.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah,
so,
I have to watch it.
I know.
Yeah. Sean Aitchison, who wrote in about the Dragon Ball Z question, also wrote in about a potential movie outline. Now, he wrote a really long email, and I'm just going to kind of give like a brief outline to you guys about it. But his idea for the Invincible movie would kind of, the intro before the title would be kind of like somewhat of a montage of, you know, Nolan explaining, you know, who he is and the Viltrumite people and their race, and then Mark getting his superpowers, throwing the garbage bag, and then, you know, title that says Invincible, or, you know, if that's what the movie's going to be called, hopefully. But then the movie would progress as, you know, there would be some basic superheroing, you know, throw in a lot of the Nolan relationship building. Then at one point, Nolan gets pulled away to a fight, and in that fight, he kills the Guardians. But everybody thinks that the bad guy they were fighting was the one that killed the Guardians, which is something that I actually brought up on our, you know, movie episode, which I think is great. They go to the funeral. Mark will then confront the big bad guy that they fought, that Nolan fought, and find out that Nolan was, in fact, the one that killed them. Him and Nolan fight, and it ends with Cecil, you know, just the way the comic ends. You know, Nolan flies into space, Cecil offers, you know, Mark the job, and he goes to fight Alan on the moon, you know, has that conversation. Do you guys think the movie should be pretty much that first volume, you know, end with the fight with Nolan, or do you think it should be more or less?
I think that pretty much would sum it up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you want to hopefully come out with a sequel.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's the main...
Man, sequels, tie-ins, TV shows, all of it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, if they didn't stop it there, where else they would stop it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I could see it stopping there 100%, but I'm just trying to think of what would be the next, like, good stopping point for...
I feel like if the next point after that would have to be where Nolan goes, and the reveal that he's on another planet with a child. And I feel like that can't be done in the same movie, because that's almost too much, right?
Yeah. Unless you left it out... Well, no, you couldn't. Because you know how, like,
introduces so much.
That could be one of those, like,
cut
end
it.
Credits, like the special sneak peek.
Yeah, him on an alien planet.
Yeah, just like a back view of holding a baby or something.
Purple baby.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I almost feel like there is so much. So unless if they do, like, the whole beginning scene of the killing of
the Guardians.
Mm-hmm. In the middle of the movie, is the big epic fight with Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
Then finishing it up like that's the only way I could see that working. But I feel like that fight with Nolan has to be...
It's so climactic.
Right. It has to be an ending.
Mm-hmm. And there has to be a lot of emotion in that fight. So you need a good amount of time to build those characters up and everything. So,
especially for a movie.
Yeah.
Especially
for
a movie.
If it was a TV show, it would be different. You know, a lot of people were hoping this would be an animated TV show, you know, several episodes, and we can get a lot of this extra stuff in, but that's because we all want it to be...
after the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what I said. I mean, if the movie's successful, we just say there won't be.
Right.
Video games, you know, going to Hot Topic, get pajamas.
Yes.
Costumes, Halloween costumes.
It'd probably have to be on late at night on Cartoon Network.
Oh, probably. Yeah. Or Netflix. You know, just do it straight to Netflix or something. I don't know.
Daredevil. Love it.
Mm.
I stopped after the second season.
There only is 2 seasons of Daredevil.
Or no, I stopped after like the second episode of the second season.
The only one of the Marvel Netflix shows I have not watched is Iron Fist.
I just saw that came out.
Yeah.
Billy was watching a preview or something.
I heard it wasn't very good.
Because he was watching the preview for the whole...
Defenders, where all of them get together.
And I was like, there's an Iron Fist? Like, so we're good.
Yeah, so...
All
right, so... Let's do this. Issue 109. My God, 109. We've done 109 of these.
That's crazy.
So this is Ultimate Collection, Volume 10. We're going to be going over 109 to 120. So here we are. But first, actually, I want to say a quick little previously on where this kind of left off last time was Volume 9 was all about issue 100, Dinosaurus killing all those people, Robot viewing Mark as a villain, and Angstrom coming back, Mark becoming obsessed with finding Angstrom, and, you know, Robot helping Mark go after Angstrom. You know, Eve slapped him and everything, remember all that? And, you know, Robot and Mark go to that other dimension, and Robot hears that other Mark, the Mohawk Mark, talk about how, you know, he's evil and how all the Marks in that other desert dimension were evil and how we realized that's who we really were. And Robot just does something. He chops off Angstrom Levy's head, kills Mohawk Mark, and leaves Mark in that other dimension. And Mark is sitting there by himself and says, holy fuck. And that's where you guys ended. So, let's jump into this. Issue 109. Awesome cover. I love this cover. Mark kneeling down before, you know, Rudy, you know, the robot that was in the test tube. And it starts off right where we left off. Mark is looking around. There's everybody dead and bloodied. And Mark zips around and he pulls his hair out, puts on the other costume for Mohawk Mark, and he imitates Mohawk Mark. Like, he pretends he's him.
Right.
And he, you know, tells General Craig, you know, that the other Mark that went there was the one that attacked him. They killed Angstrom to, you know, to halt our progress. And
which was so smart. Like,
yeah, so quick, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of this so quickly.
And I love that he leaves the Pentagon, which is it's so cool that it's all, you know, Viltrumite-ified, and fly straight to the old Teen Team base, you know, hoping to find somebody that can help him. And he gets there, and I love seeing the costumes of Eve and Rexplode, like, in their cases. Mm-hmm. And there's Rudy in his test tube, and he basically goes to him to seek out some help, somebody that he can, you know, confide in. And it turns out that the Mohawk Mark, the Mark of that dimension, killed everybody. Yep. Killed the entire team, killed Eve, Rex, everybody.
Because he's evil. You know, he said he was, and
and that Rudy even tells Mark, he's like, that, you know, our Mark, Mohawk Mark, we'll just keep calling him Mohawk Mark, it's just easier, wasn't human. He was very much alien. He took his he sided with his father when his father, you know,
when that epic showdown happened.
Fight happened. Yeah. So this is basically a world in which Mark teamed up and helped his dad take over the world, because he went to the teen team saying like, hey, you'll side with me, right? Like, you'll help. And they didn't, and he killed them. I love
compassion. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this dimension, this whole alternate reality. I think that's so cool. But Rudy agrees to help, and he tells Mark that he needs incentive though, because why help him? Like what's in it for
What's
him?
going to serve me? Yeah.
Exactly. So Mark seeks out the Mauler.
Yes. Which I was, of course, excited to see the Mauler twins again.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, yeah, this time there's one because he keeps killing
Never
them, right?
mind.
Isn't that what he said? Like, doesn't he like keep killing the other one? He doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He can't clone himself
No.
quick enough. So the plan is to put Robot, or Rudy, into Mark's body, a clone of Mark.
Even though when you started saying Broody, I was like,
Rex.
Yeah. Robot.
Yeah.
You heard it? I'm like,
I know
it took me a second to like get there. I was like, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So long ago, but yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah, like Robot as Rex more than you knew Rex Blode almost at this point. Oh, pretty close.
I feel like
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost about halfway.
Yeah. I've accepted him as Rex. So
Yeah,
that's
and it's
very-
weird. I feel like I call him Rex when he's not in the suit, and I call him Robot when he's in the suit.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think that's what it
Same
is.
thing. Yeah.
But now that he's Rudy, he's Rudy.
Now he's going to be invincible.
Yes. So he gets the Mauler to help clone him,
Agree.
and Mark has been kind of checking in with the Viltrumites, telling him that he's being kind of held captive there, kind of portraying this, that Rudy's captured him and holding him hostage and everything. And the time comes to put Rudy into the Mark
Body.
clone, and they do it. But just as they're doing it, the Viltrumites attack. They
Yes.
go to save their Emperor Mark, who they think is Mohawk Mark. And right in that moment, I mean, it actually wasn't it like a month earlier that he could have left, but he wanted to make sure the cloning worked.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So he could have left. So at this point, the Mauler is like, okay, get out of here. You have to go. So Mark flies through the portal to get out of there. Because what do the Viltrumites send as a weapon?
Is that's Monster Girl, right? But like,
Yes. Remember before? Yeah. Remember before when Monster Girl, every time she used it, she got younger?
and younger.
That was in a world where Robot fixed her.
Yeah.
Remember he gave her that belt?
Uh-huh.
This is what would have happened had Robot not fixed her. So it's the baby.
Yes.
And
yes.
remember, the monster became more of a monster as she became younger.
Yeah.
So, and I love how Conquest was like, but the last time we unleashed this beast, I was not sure we'll be able to contain it. Like, this is a weapon. So Anissa.
Oh, well, I was gonna say when I first saw Anissa holding a baby, I was like, is this from a completely different reality where she actually had a child?
had kids. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little confused at first.
Oh, yeah.
But then,
So it took-
flip to the next
yeah.
page and like totally.
Oh, so cool. It's just this huge, like, Godzilla, like, giant monster. And, of course, Mark has fled to the other dimension. The monster's rampaging around. But Robot successfully is cloned inside of Invincible.
Transfers him, yeah.
So here we have an alternate universe where Robot is in Mark's body.
Oh, it's such bad news. It's such bad news.
But at least he's in a dimension where,
Like, he's a good guy
but
in this case.
he is, but it's still Robot.
Oh, yeah. It
Yeah.
is still
So,
Robot. But
like-
this is a robot that didn't go to the Flaxon dimension. I mean, I guess we can get into that later of whether or not that's...
Yeah. I guess, yes.
Either way, I
in
love
his
this
blood.
dimension. It's just like there's Conquest there. In the
Well,
issue
I love
before
seeing
this,
everybody
yeah,
again.
in the issue before this, they mentioned Thragg's rebels. Like, what happened? Where's Nolan in this universe? So
Yeah, I was wondering the exact same thing. And I think this is a really clever way to like get to feel all the characters again and still
Yeah,
like be part
yeah.
of it and like, okay, everyone's not dead. It's cool.
absolutely. So I like that Robot Mark's basically still portrayed as the Mohawk Mark, and all is well in that storyline. And that's where that issue ended.
Yeah. This is the cover I liked.
This cover, oh my god, I love, like, there's kind of a running joke, not a running joke, but like Ottley draws hands so well.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's the hand of Nolan from issue 11
Yes.
reaching down. There's the Conquest War with Eve, her bloody hand reaching, and now Mark reaching for Eve. Oh,
Yeah, no, I love it. If I could ever afford a cover, that would be
Yeah, that cover.
Yeah, I love it.
I have often thought about getting a commission from Ryan Ottley that would pretty much mirror this, but instead of Invincible's hand and Eve's hand, it would be Robot and Monster Girl, and it would be the monster hand and the robot, like, kind of
I love
robot
that,
hand.
yeah.
Especially after this volume. Okay, so 110. This.
We're gonna see it like next week. Someone's gonna be like,
Yeah, damn it! I shouldn't have said that. So this was a very controversial issue.
Brittany's got words about it.
So, I mean, there's not too much. I mean, we're going to get right into it because there's a lot of this is going to be. There's not a lot of words, I guess I could put it that way. So Mark gets back, and he flies straight home, and Eve's pregnant. Obviously, he left, and she was freshly pregnant.
Right.
Ew.
Sorry, Brittany.
Yeah.
And she's like not really shocked by this. She's kind of like,
Whatever.
you know,
I had accepted you gone.
Yeah, she's moved on essentially.
Yep.
Mark's been gone for 6 months. Her entire pregnancy. She tells him that she almost lost the baby. She wasn't eating. She was a mess. Rex or Robot told her that I saw them crush his head.
Right.
He was gone.
Freaking robot.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
And Mark's just like saying, like pleading, like, "Hey, you have to listen to me. None of that's true." And he's like, "No, I'm done with this. I realize the only way that I can survive and the only life I can give this child is one without you.
Without you, I gotta leave you behind."
Oh God, I was just like, I was so pissed with this whole issue. Honestly, like,
Yeah.
I wish I read them separately.
What, the fight between
Like all the issues in this volume. I really wish
it
I
is.
was
You
able
guys are experiencing something completely different because we read these months or a couple months apart in some cases. Like this, yeah.
I think it ruined it for me. Honestly, because
this,
like it's probably my worst. Like for me, it's my least favorite volume.
really,
Yeah.
Least favorite just because of like what happened.
Everything that happened, but it was just, yeah.
Because now we're gonna get into it more, but because it happened too quickly, was it because it was too much? Did it go too far?
I think it went way too far.
You think so? Yeah.
See, for me too, it's like I can get where she's coming from because, you know, she has all these emotions from the last time when she had an abortion, and then she had to go through that alone.
Yeah, and
then
now again,
he left. She had to go through the whole pregnancy.
This is
alone.
the second time she's going through a pregnancy alone.
So she knows that she needs to be able to be alone in order to be okay with it. Like,
I get why she's pissed that the reason why he left.
Yeah.
But if it's only been 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
But
I
not
know,
only, but it's not.
constantly
It's not
choosing
just
something
that.
else over her.
Yeah, and it's not just that the time has passed, but she went through the entire emotion of accepting the fact that he was dead, like not believing it, then eventually fighting it, and then
Not
denying
even just
it.
accepting that he was dead, not even caring that he came back alive. Like, that is moved on.
She's
like,
not wearing the ring anymore.
she's not wearing the ring. She doesn't even, she's like, I'm not even mad. I just don't even care. Like, I'm done.
So she says we're through. They essentially break up.
And she's skinny again.
Well, because she wasn't
couldn't
eating.
eat.
No, I know. I'm
and-
just,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
But yep.
I love his stupid face.
Yeah. She tells him to leave and that she doesn't want him around, just go. And Mark just basically gives in and says, just leave. Just leave. Robot cannot be trusted. Just don't stay here. Just leave. And Mark flies away crying. I feel so bad
It
for
just
Mark.
went too far.
So he's up there crying and Anissa shows up.
Girl on the prowl.
Fuck.
She's been looking for him. Now, if you remember, what was it? Oh, did you forget?
No, because something just hit in my mind. I heard a conversation, obviously, between you guys about what can and cannot be done to a guy, and now I realized
Oh, yeah.
that's what you guys
Yep, that's what we were talking about.
Okay.
So
anyway.
oh, yeah, there's been, even on the podcast, we've talked a lot
forget,
about,
just...
what happened in this
Yeah.
scene
Yeah.
in detail.
Okay.
But if you guys remember, in issue 107, Anissa, like sped up and kissed Mark, and she's like, "Huh, I didn't notice any resistance." Remember, she was watching him arm wrestle.
Freaking creepy.
Like she's been.
creeper.
This has been leading up for a while, and so yeah, she basically tells him, "Hey, I do not want to procreate with these humans. I have no interest in them. They disgust me. But you have ultimate blood, so you'll do." She's a little bit stronger than him, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah.
She forces herself. They fight. Like, he fights back. I mean, it's a straight up fight. He's punching her. She's bloodied. But unfortunately, she's just enjoying that.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I'm literally shaking my head this whole time.
Yeah. I want to...
I love well, you all get the idea.
What's that?
When she...
Oh, yeah. I mean, it ends with her, obviously, she rapes Mark. Mm-hmm. She says, "Man up, it'll probably take a few times. I'll see you soon." And Mark's just left there in that crater. I want to read a quote from Kirkman. Comic Book Resources, CBR.com, interviewed Robert Kirkman after this issue because it was, pretty controversial. And this is what he said. He said, "This was an attempt to bring something that's a bad part of real life into a superhero world and analyze the ramifications of something like this happening to someone in superhero comics. It's a great medium to be able to deal with real-world issues against a fantastic backdrop that is completely unreal and see how those differences in the situation change how characters behave. It's really all about exploring Mark's character, and I can say that it's a very hard scene to read, and it's meant to be that way. There will be far-reaching ramifications coming from this moment that will extend throughout the life of the book for years and years and years. It's definitely a huge turning point in Mark's life, and it's something that's going to temper almost every scene with that guy moving forward." So were you okay after reading this, Brittany, or did this, seriously,
No, this bothered me.
Yeah.
How so? What do you mean?
It's a fucking comic.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad enough we had already discussed abortion, which is in itself, I don't know, I think they're all very touchy subjects. He's got a lot of balls to put it in here.
Mm-hmm.
In a comic. It really does.
To be fair, it's not
I do get it.
Yeah. And it's not the first time rape has been done in comics before. Also in this article, there were, they gave examples of it happening in other series and other examples of when it was the guy being raped. So yeah, I mean, he decided to go with it, and like he said, it does have ramifications and it will change things.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I'm thinking about Mark and everything he just went through in this short amount of time, and I feel awful for him.
Yeah, this was definitely like a kick him when he's down kind of thing.
Right. And I feel like that also kind of changed the way that he fought back because of what he had just went through emotionally. He just couldn't...
He was drained.
Yeah, he just couldn't fight her off.
Not only Eve, but everything with Robot.
That just...
6 months.
Exactly, right. So I feel like that's what left him so vulnerable in that exact moment, and she was there at that exact right time, Because I don't feel like it would have been successful at another point. I just don't. As far as the rape itself, it being in a comic book, for me, it's I don't want to say it's not a big deal, but for me to read it, I more appreciate it because I feel like it is something that happens.
Well, again, it's just another form of art, just like movies or TV or something like that. It's just it's something like you, Brittany. I've never in a comic before, read something like that before, so it is jarring. And like Kirkman says, it's meant to be hard to read.
Yeah.
I mean.
But I like when stuff does that. I
think it was just a little too far.
Yeah.
I had to stop after this and just kind of
what just happened.
Yeah. And then I had to go back to it.
Yeah.
I've only read issue 100 of The Walking Dead once because that scene was way too hard for me to read. And it's very, very disturbing. And I had a really hard time reading it, not only because of the gore in that issue, but because of the context and, the writing and the way it was portrayed. It was really tough. And so I get it. I totally get it. It is tough. So.
But in our perspective, for one, this is my first comic I've ever read. And two, being that we are reading this per volume.
Oh, yeah.
To
See, we read that and then we sat on it for at least a month.
Yeah, no, like
Yeah.
just
Which
to
I
keep
could see.
reading,
I could
it
see
was
that being
difficult
tough.
to actually
Because when I read,
to like it.
yeah,
again.
as I was rereading it, I'm like, geez, like it's violent and it's like it's beating him. It's taking a character that you love and it's really messing him up.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep. And that's, I mean, again, Invincible kind of is about taking superhero tropes and taking things that, you know, might be easy or, you know, something different and just kind of turning them around and finding a way to tell it in a different story, in a different like what Kirkman was saying, you know. So
But I feel like that's what books are for.
mm-hmm.
Like you want to pick up that thriller or whatever
yeah.
and just read a whole book and it's mentioned in it and it's fine, but in a comic it just
It was too much.
too much for me.
It was probably because it was the graphic, you know, because it goes along with
what
Visualization.
yeah, you have a visual aid versus when you're just reading a book.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it would be a similar, do you think, say everything you've read of Invincible so far, every issue had been an episode of a TV show. Do you think this episode of a TV show would hit you just as hard? Or do you think it's because it's a medium that you haven't experienced it like this before?
No, I think
The show would be just as bad?
the show would be just as bad.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I read more crazy things. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like I said, it didn't have that hard of effect on me. It more destroyed the character for me versus the actual experience of
And we'll
reading.
have to talk to TJ. I remember TJ was the one, like, you know, me and Bill, I can't remember too much of what our thoughts on it were, but I remember TJ wasn't a big fan of this. Like, it bothered
Probably
him too,
because
just in a...
does he believe that a man can't be raped?
Oh,
Is
no, I
that
don't
his
think that was...
standpoint?
No,
Okay,
I don't think it was that.
Oh, yeah,
I just
no,
think
I
he
don't-
meant it just felt like it wasn't necessary.
Okay, because
Right.
I know like
For
that
the
was like
comic.
the argument.
Oh, no. That
Of
was... Yeah, we've
discussion.
talked about that
Okay.
before. But, I mean, they can. I mean, that is
Yes.
something that...
I'm with TJ on that one then.
that you just don't feel like it was
It
necessary. And
wasn't
again, I might be
necessary.
wrong, but, you know, we'll have to ask TJ later. But,
That could be a note on our all gathering
yeah, when we all talk.
to something they talk about.
Well, as if that wasn't bad enough, going in after that was issue 111, which, my God, this was monumental. They advertised it as 3 issue ones for the price of one because it had that much impact, like an issue 1, like it was a big deal. And so,
I just like Farmer Mark. He's
oh
so
yeah,
cute.
Farmer Mark.
Did you like this episode?
Wasn't it like from Superman? Superman.
Oh my
did that.
gosh! Yeah, well,
It was something.
Superman crashed into the farmer's
yeah,
land,
yeah.
and so I thought it
well,
was just like
even
a spin-off of
his
Superman
even his Superman flying pose in the one picture, you know.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in his overalls.
Mm-hmm. So yes, a farmer lends Mark some overalls, and Mark goes straight to the Pentagon to talk to Cecil. And I love how we don't even see the conversation between him and Cecil. It kind of starts when they're like already midway through.
Yeah.
Cecil believes him. He's like, okay, I get it. Are you sure you're the right Mark from this dimension? And he's like, yes. He
Just feeling it out.
Yeah, he believes him. And Robot, yeah, he just shows up.
Oh, they'll take that as an apology.
Yeah.
Freaking dick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The panel of just him, like,
Yeah,
like an
because
asshole.
it's so like it's kind of creepy
It
because you know
is.
he always had that kind of skull-looking
grimace, yeah.
grimace, and so you know what's going on.
like
and
I
so,
always took that as like he's a good guy, but now it just like
Totally
ooh,
transformed.
yeah.
oh, and so he basically says
Punch her in
like,
the mouth.
he's like, oh, did you survive that injury, Mark? And Mark's like, oh, you're
Oh.
denying. Oh, and yeah, Mark or Cecil continues to take Mark's side, and Robot's like, well,
Oh,
I wish I
well.
had more time.
I
Gotta-
was,
So-
gotta
I was
move on to
actually
the next.
surprised that Cecil took Mark's side.
Yeah.
I mean, Cecil's a.
Everything between them, but I don't know.
I mean, Mark was gone. Like he was
That's true. It was gone,
for 6 months.
yeah.
Yeah, but you know.
Oh,
So Liz, it has been so long.
Yay! Cecil dies.
So I know, obviously,
Okay,
back
so
when
first
you
of all- okay.
a year ago,
Yes.
when you were saying you wanted Cecil to die.
I freaking hate Cecil.
Here we are. Obviously,
I know.
I've known this whole time that
I
this
know.
was going to happen, and the
I know.
way it was going to happen. Are you okay with this?
Okay, so first of all, like, when he's taking Mark's side just before this, I'm thinking in my head, they're trying to redeem him.
Oh,
no,
Cecil.
No, Cecil. They're trying to redeem him again, make you like him. Like, they've been working up towards that little by little. So I'm, waiting for something to happen to Cecil. Mm-hmm. And so when I actually, turned this page and saw his throat slit, I was shocked. I was like, oh, it's happening. But I didn't feel remorse. I didn't feel anything.
Yeah, so dramatic too.
I was
just a slice of
just holding his head back, slicing, and then
and
not
then
only that,
stomping. He curb stomped his head.
That was awful. There's no coming back.
I was like, Cecil,
that was...
you deserved it. I'm sad that it was Robot that did it to you. It should have been Mark.
Oh.
But I was glad he was dead. It's all right. Bye, Cecil. See you later.
So sad.
Said no one.
It's such... I did not like it. I liked Cecil as a character. I get that.
No,
I
know.
I get that it... I like the... the way it happened, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Because it needed to happen.
No, it was
but man, it was
perfectly
such a
dramatic.
Such a rough scene.
It happened the way that I wanted it to happen. It was a gratifying, death.
Yeah. He had a very impactful death.
Exactly. I know, I'm terrible.
Out of nowhere, one...
Just straight up, boom.
Well, I was shocked.
It's just one page, done.
Yeah.
And there was no warning.
Nope.
It was just, that was it. Fuck.
Mm-hmm. And, obviously, Robot's got his little pulse thing going, so Mark can't really fight back, but he's trying to. And he's saying, he's basically saying, Robot calls Cecil a friend. He says that, he would have understood, the importance of what I'm doing. He would have, but unfortunately, he would prevent me from what I'm accomplishing. But if he'd have known, he would welcome this.
Yeah.
Robot's basically saying Cecil would approve of what I've done. And
to me, in that moment, he sounded like the T-Rex guy. Oh my God.
Dinosaurus.
Dinosaurus.
Exactly,
Yes.
and that comes up several times. Yeah. So Mark manages to fight through it and destroy that robot.
Which, cool, you destroyed it, but you didn't really have to.
Yeah.
There's just 20,000 more in another room.
Well, to be fair, he doesn't know that Rex isn't in that one.
Oh, okay.
To be fair. And he had to stop the thing from pulsing.
Pulsing, yes, exactly.
So, but he's sitting there, and it's that almost seems like an issue where it would end right there. He's sitting there, just like the one with Angstrom, but no, that's not it.
No.
Robot talks through the helmet and says, "Meet me at your house." Oh. So.
And then we see the new and improved robot. Yeah.
He's all souped up now. And he's standing there in front of Eve, and Mark smashes in, and...
my heart hurts so bad right now, just so you know. Just everything that's happened to Mark, and it's just going.
I know.
They want him to be evil. They want him to give in.
It's almost like the comic is pushing Mark in a direction.
Yes.
You're like, hey. So I like how, in this point, Robot says, give me the same trust you gave Dinosaurus. Do you not know me better than you know him? This will be better for everyone. This is the same thing. This world is flawed. I can make it perfect. I've done it before. I know how this sounds, but I've seen it. So he's saying, hey, I fixed a whole world before. I could do it again. What were you doing with Dinosaurus any different? And Mark's still freaking out. He tells Eve that, he just murdered Cecil. Robot says, hey, Cecil would have stopped me. I had to do it, and unfortunately he won't be the last one to die. Eve believes Mark at this point. She's calling him crazy. And Mark flies at Robot. Robot tells Eve to stay and shoots out this cable that latches onto her leg. And then he rips her leg off.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, when she falls directly on her belly.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they even made a point to show,
the smackdown of her belly. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh. My heart broke, because I was like, that can't be good. But then again, she's a freaking superhero with a super boom.
But then again, if that wasn't even enough,
fucking comes off.
But then she uses her powers too.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
So Robot's talking, and she uses her powers because Robot's basically saying, hey, I knew the only way to stop you would be to attack Eve and your unborn child.
Right.
Eve smashes his head with her powers. Mark's like obviously in panic mode because don't use your powers, you're going to hurt the baby. And she's like, I had to do something.
Right.
Robot throws a bomb. The whole house blows up. Like, seriously?
Uh-huh.
So Mark flies straight into the atmosphere. We get a scene with Rex sitting there, basically, saying that he wished he had more time. And he's like, oh, well.
Let the
slaughter begin.
And you see
I
all
got
his
so
robots.
excited.
Oh,
you
yeah.
see all his robots in the background.
Yep.
Ugh.
And I don't think I caught that. The one directly behind him looks to be the one that just...
Lost its head.
Was it the one that just lost his head? Yeah, because he grabs the head and then he appears through the portal. Oh, yeah, duh, in the page before. And so he's holding the head and...
Just has to get fixed and
yeah,
go
just
back
gonna get
out.
fixed, and there they
There's
are.
like no break in between all of these.
These were meant to be like,
are
remember
like-
Conquest? Remember it was like boom, boom, boom. And it was like, this is kind of one-upping Conquest. This is saying, hey, you thought that was like a lot? That was a fight between two people. Here's an army. Like, here's a lot. And so,
Yeah,
let the
worthy
slaughter
army.
begin. Mark flies into space. He tells Eve she has to create a bubble. Even though it might hurt the baby, he's saying at this point, it's either
That's
both
it.
of you or you.
Yeah.
And so he flies straight to the Viltrumite ship, and he just basically falls down at the door. Nolan is standing there, and Mark's like, help. Like, ugh! Month to month. We had to read these month to month.
I know, right? No, this
Ugh.
is one time I was actually really excited that I got to turn the page to see what happened next.
I know. I always forget that you guys only had.
Well, guess what? Soon, you guys are close. Soon you're going to have to wait month to month, but only for like 6 issues. The final 6.
But that month will go by so fast.
It does go by
Yeah.
very fast.
Yeah.
Like, we already have a new issue coming out next week, and it's like, yes.
And maybe what I'll do is like I'll wait to the end of the month and read it so that a new one comes out. So it's like that still instant gratification.
Oh, it's great. Issue 112.
112.
Oh.
So there's poor Donald
Poor Donald.
walking in on,
Cecil.
yeah.
Poor guy.
And we get to see lots of robots leaving
Monumental.
that. Remember that moon base that
Is there- is
robot
that-
designed?
Star
Oh
Wars
shit!
base.
That's that.
Yeah.
That's the moon base that robot designed in order to keep the tides.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
that
knew when he was.
motherfucker.
Yeah, he knew when he was
He
building it.
knew. Oh, that.
Oh, of
little
course he
asshole.
did. Of course he did.
I'm
Because
over
he
here
had done
thinking-
it before.
I'm thinking it's just like a Death Star thing.
Oh no.
I mean, it essentially
that was-
serves the same purpose.
Yeah, that was used for good.
Oh.
That he kind of. So here's the slaughter. So poor Black Samson. He was there from the beginning. He gets taken out at his barber shop,
Yeah.
where the elephant seems to be working. The elephant, who's an old time villain, kind of like one of those small villains that Mark fights every now and then. Kind of a play on the Rhino in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he looks like a white guy in a costume, but he presses his chest where the amulet is,
Yeah.
and he's like an old black guy.
I was trying to figure out who this was. I assumed it was is it Shapesmith?
Oh no,
I assumed it was him.
I get why you'd think that, but no, that was just the elephant. Elephant was just a random villain that Mark was seen fighting several times. Just a small time thing. It's usually just him punching him out, like knocking him out.
Well, and then it confused me too because like when it like poofed, it was pink, and I always see that with Eve
Oh yeah.
and like the pink writing. So I was like, is she somewhere? Is something
Oh.
happening? So it took me a little bit to just accept.
No,
Okay, he just died.
He just took out one of the small villains.
Yep.
And Amanda. So Amanda gets called into. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Amanda gets called into or Amanda gets called into Rex's kind of office where he's
Lair.
working,
It's a layer of evil.
and he's all smiles. It's like, good to see you, Amanda. Would you like to sit down? Everything's fine. Do you ever think about our time in the Flaxon Dimension? You ever think about how we'd make things better there and how we can make them better here?
Yeah, why don't we try that?
And then we get their dialogue in the background while seeing
I
all the
thought
carnage.
That was awesome.
Wasn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yep. And seeing her text boxes were green, his were red.
This monster girl.
Uh-huh.
So
But yeah, I love this, and this would work so well in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you can hear it. Like, you can hear the dialogue talking.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, and so he explains to Amanda basically how, you know, they would have to, you know, like how some people would oppose them, but they would come around to our side, and she's kind of agreeing, like, yeah, you know, it would take time, but they would.
Things are different here, so that's like a big.
Yeah. So, Robot kills Knockout. Now, these are characters that are in Guarding the Globe and Invincible Universe, which is this kind of a spin-off. So you would have known these characters a little bit more. But, you know, either way, you've seen them. Yeah, you've seen them a couple times. Yeah. Kills Knockout, don't want the boxing gloves. Kills Kid Thor, who's been around for a long time. He was, I think, originally in the Capes. And so, yeah, kills them. Yeti has got his face blasted. And as he's describing it, it shows him, in this scene bothers me so much, him walking towards Shapesmith, and Shapesmith saying, but I thought we were friends. And Robot's like, it's nothing personal, and kills Shapesmith. So, who doesn't get a funeral later, by the way, which is totally unfair. I love Shapesmith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was, like, that made me sad, too. And it's just like...
But he was part of, like, how you got to know where he came from earlier in the... Like,
he was, like, Shapesmith was back in when Markouts went to Mars,
yes.
and, like, Russ Livingston, the
he's
sequence.
Been around forever. Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
And for him just, he deserves a funeral.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But,
But, yeah, so then it shows...
Heartless. He's freaking
It shows Robot taking on all the invincible Reanimen and detonating a bomb that was comparable to the... Yeah, Donald. Donald gets away. He's a floating head now.
Well, you know, he's a cyborg head.
Yep. He detonates a bomb similar to the one used in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Or as they call it now, New Vegas.
New Vegas.
And, yeah. And again, meanwhile, all this dialogue saying, like, hey... You know, Amanda's like, we'll win them over eventually. Well, and Rex is like, no, Amanda, I don't think you understand what I'm proposing.
Right. Well, and you can see, too, though, that Sensei had been gone for so long, she even says, like, I haven't felt comfortable here.
Yeah,
or like, I belong here. So I don't think she's going to be hard to win over.
But she kind of is.
I know, because she's got, like, that moral compass more so than anybody else.
Well, he was the one that ruled. She ruled alongside with him, but, you know.
Right. I know.
Might not have been the exact same experience. But I love Best Tiger showing up. He's one of the one characters that I regret you guys not getting to know from the spin-off series, just because he's so fun. He's just crazy. But I love the way his, like, broken English, he's just a sharpshooter. He's like, he uses bandana over his eyes. He's just a really cool guy. But anyways, what is it?
I'm just, because then this is when she realizes that he's already begun. So, she shifts into
she's like what
form.
Yeah, she's saying what you were talking about, how they would oppose you. You've already started.
Yeah.
You know?
And his simple response is, better to ask for forgiveness.
Yes, that's the thing. He's saying it's better to ask forgiveness. I've already started. I was hoping you would come onto my side. And his plan is already in motion. Ugh. And I love this dialogue. I love this whole scene. This whole scene is one of my favorites in probably the entire series. You know, Monster Girl saying, Monax, he told me who you are, right. And I didn't believe him. You did hunt down and kill all of them. You are and he's like, monster? That's what he said, didn't he? I killed all of them. He admits to it. He says, I killed all those people. I killed the person you fathered a child with. I killed all of them. I tried looking for your child to kill him too. And he's like, am I a monster? Maybe I always was beneath the surface. Who knew we had so much in common?
That's not even fair.
So...
I had nothing. Yeah. Like, I had nothing at this point. I was just like...
I loved it. It was so well written.
It is. Well, and then, like, the fact, too, that he just keeps on...
Like, he's still... Right up to the end, he's still believing, like, you're really not taking my side? Because she says, like, why? I loved you. And he says, loved? So you're really not going to help me? What an idiot I've been. I've never considered what this would do to us. I didn't think it would even come to this.
I know. But then he still ends like a slimy asshole of you betrayed me first.
I really liked him.
Yes.
I'm so sad.
Yeah.
I liked him.
You know, and it's tough. This is one of those things, and we're going to get into it more in the next couple issues. But yes, that line, I want you to remember, you betrayed me first. And then an amazing page of Rex kissing monster form of monster girl. And he says, but I'll always love you. And then him crying on the floor as he like ejects her out into space. He's right. Whew. So,
can we just talk about that?
Go for it.
Like, when you saw her choking in space, like, I lost it. Like,
really?
I was like, how could you... I couldn't get over this one. And this is the point where I had to put it down.
Really?
Yeah, like, this affected me so much.
That was... Their relationship is so good. I loved their relationship.
I love that they were like kids, they were teenagers. Like I love everything about their story.
Rough.
Yeah, so this one was a lot harder for me to take.
I'm glad she didn't die.
I know. Well, at this point, like the way that I thought that she was like dying, she was dying. Mother effer Rex, I'm gonna hunt you down. But yeah, this scene was beautifully written, and I just couldn't get over it.
Yeah. All right, issue 113. The slaughter continues. Robot goes after Britt. Britt uses his own son in a rocket-powered boot.
I know.
That was cute.
I was like a nice little comic relief.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen right here, right?
There you go. And then he escapes with his son. And I love this shot of Rex saying, "Damn it, I should have sent more drones for Britt. It was stupid. I'm too distracted." And it cuts to Monster Girl floating because you know that's what he's thinking of. That's why he's distracted.
Of course.
But there's Anissa flying by. So Anissa grabs Monster Girl and brings her aboard the ship.
Oh, she makes me cringe.
I think she's supposed to. I know, it's rough.
Like, when I seen her, I was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's good writing right there.
Like, they're just trying to make her look like she's doing something good, and I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate it.
So remember what?
Oh, I just like that it shows the panel of Anissa's hand reaching towards Monster Girl. Like,
right.
Again, it's like that
cool.
That play of the two hands.
So the last issue, you didn't see Mark or Eve. So it's been 2 months and you don't know what's happening.
Oh, shit, yeah.
So now this is the first page we see of Mark since he was at the doorstep saying help.
Help, yeah.
So here he is, bloody, up against the wall, and somebody says, "Mark, sorry to wake you." And you turn the page. Would you like to hold her?
I know. It's like they just like instant relief.
Yes. This was so satisfying when we read it because it had been so long, and it was like, thank God. Like
something good, something to keep him where he needs to be.
Because you know, if anything had happened to Eve or that baby,
he'd be done. He would be done. And I just love him crying.
Yeah,
it's so cute.
So
the baby looks like a fat little Eve.
Oh my gosh,
it does look like a fat Eve. You're right.
I love it.
So I love it. Yeah, he cries, wipes a tear away, and they say that Eve's still in surgery. That there was a lot of blood loss. That they were able to save the baby.
But she's stabilized.
Yeah, but she's stabilized.
She's okay.
Mm-hmm. And Mark just saying, "I just want her to live." Great moment with him holding the baby. Her saying, "I'll leave you two alone." And I love how he's like, "You have no idea how screwed up your life is going to be. But seriously, I'm sorry." So, and then Eve's out of surgery. She's stabilized. Mark gets to go see her. And there's Eve with her robotic leg.
Yep.
So she has a robotic leg now.
Well, and I'm thinking too, is she able to create something now that she's not pregnant?
She can use her powers, but she's never able to affect organic matter.
That's right.
She was only able to do that when she was under extreme stress.
I gotcha. And she couldn't
dead.
because she was...
Yeah.
Okay. So that's staying. The leg is staying.
So yes, she does have a robotic leg now.
Are you mad at me, Mark? Freaking petty.
I like when she grabbed the baby though. She's like, "Oh my God, she's perfect. She's so perfect." She looks at Mark. Her life is going to be so screwed up, and he's like, "I already told her."
I know. I like that little conversation right there. That was good.
Mm-hmm. But yes, I don't. Her again, reading it issue to issue, I can imagine this being a little tough because now all of a sudden, Mark, are you mad at me? Come here, you big. Like, it seems a little sudden. After everything that's been going on, not only your leg getting ripped off, having the baby, robot attacking, but you broke up with him. You know what I mean? Like, it's been 6 months. Now all this is happening so quickly. So that might feel a little jarring. Mm. So Mark pulls back a little bit, though, but that's more so, I think, because of the rape than anything. And he walks away and goes to talk to his dad for a little bit. And this is when we find out that Monster Girl will be fine. She had some brain damage, but because of her monster form's ability to regenerate, they're able to help repair her, and she'll be okay. So
I'm seeing Anissa peeking over the
spying
him down.
Anissa makes an appearance, and Mark, understandably is a little shooken by it. So
yeah, just the body language, like him like angling away from her. Oh yeah. Ugh. He's waiting for the pounds.
Her whispering, you can see like the text is small. He's like, "Missed you." Oh. Yeah. So they find out that a robot drone has appeared near the ship on the moon. And he shows up and what?
Sorry, Nolan's mustache is just huge.
It's on point.
It is.
That guy has a giant mustache too. The one that's talking to Nolan. And his has a little bit more flair to it. Oh, you go back an issue, or back a page. That guy at the bottom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's got a nice one.
They got some.
But you're right, Nolan's mustache, man.
It's all about the facial hair.
So I like how right away Robot's talking about Monster Girl. He's like, I tell myself that I knew you guys would save her, and that it would be able to kind of instigate this or initiate this conversation. I tell myself that. So can you tell me, is she okay? And he's like, hey, I haven't attacked you. You can at least do me the justice of telling me if she's okay.
No.
Because, I mean, he said he loved her. He bawled. He's crying. He hates that he has to do this, but he's viewing what he has to do as more important than his relationship with Monster Girl, whether we like that or not.
But he's the one that sent her out there.
I know.
Ugh.
He could have just, locked her up somewhere.
Yeah.
So
drama. Nolan's saying she's stable. And this was always great. I love how Robot starts to talk to him, and he starts, his speech is breaking up, and he's slowing down, and he's like, give me a minute. And you turn the page, and it's him doing a ton of stuff. He's flying through, that's Doc Seismic. Remember when he transformed to that lava guy?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, he's attacking the Immortal, who lost an arm. He's ordering D.A. Sinclair to produce robots faster, more of them. And then he has a meeting with the president. So he's doing all of this, and he's like, sorry about that. I'm having a hard time multitasking.
And I kind of, forgot about the D.A. Sinclair, that he would be working for who? Oh, for Robot.
Yeah. I mean, he works there.
Because he killed Cecil.
Well, he helped build it.
The moon thing.
The moon thing, yep. Mm-hmm. We do find out later in this, though, that he is not working with him. He is probably compliant in this point because he's going to kill him if he doesn't. And so the conversation carries on, and he basically says that you want to keep Earth as a place where you can repopulate. That is your main goal. If you fight me, a lot of you will die. Sure, you'll probably win, but a lot of you will die, and a lot of humans will die. And not only that, but if you don't fight me, if we kind of have this, work together,
exactly.
I will make the world an even better breeding ground for you.
Gross.
So, yeah, gross. And Nolan,
they have to consider it.
Yeah, we find out next issue, but this issue ends with Eve basically telling Mark, hey, this isn't me being concerned about whether or not Angstrom could come back. This is happening. This is real. This guy attacked us. Shut up and go save the world. and uses her powers to put his suit on. So, what are you thinking, Liz?
I don't know. No, like, at this point, too, I was just kind of like... And Mark just being like, oh, we're getting back together? Like, poor Mark. Because that's what he's kind of, like, taking it as. They had a baby, so now that she's, like, saying, like, oh, this is a real threat, he is thinking, oh, we're back together, which, of course, that's what I ultimately want, but I don't know if she's just going to be like, no, I'm done with you again. So I was kind of like, not sure how to react.
Because everything she said was valid. I mean,
right.
Mark does run away all the time. Well, not run away, but he
cannot help but be called away.
Yes, this is his life.
But then she just told him to do it again.
Yeah. Well, again, she kind of said...
Maybe because it's on her terms? Like,
I don't know. I mean, she did say in that page that, this isn't something small. This is something that's affecting us right now. Like, this is something, this needs to be done. It's not, oh, maybe Engstrom will come back, which she was right about. He wouldn't have come back, as far as we know.
As far as we know.
So.
I know.
Issue 114. This is the final one of this arc of what Rex has done. So, it starts with Robot telling the Viltrumites, okay, I believe we're done here. And Nolan's saying, I'm afraid so. Which means, he doesn't like the agreement they've struck,
right.
but he knows.
He has to. Yeah.
They're going to keep the peace. Mark obviously is attacking. He doesn't like this idea. But that's the way it is. Nolan explains to him, like, this is what we have to do. Opposing him would put too many lives at risk. It's just not worth it.
Right. Who knows how many people would die on Earth? Like, it's a stupid decision.
Mm-hmm. And Mark's like, no, there's no way you're going to let him get away with what you've done. I'm going to stop him. And I like how he says, Eve, and she's like, do it.
That was cute. I like that.
And then he just zooms out of the room. It's like,
because that's the only affirmation he needs now.
Yep.
Is that's his partner in life, and if they're on the same page, he's ready.
Yeah, and Nolan's like, he could ruin everything. Eve's like, no, he's going to fix your mistake.
Exactly. I love that. At that moment too, I was like, thank you, Eve. Like, thank you.
No, she's manned up. Like, she knows. Like,
yeah.
Well, she had a kid.
He ripped off my effing leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kill him.
No, like, we don't work with this guy.
He almost, killed her and her baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, she's out.
Yep.
Claws are out.
Done.
Mm-hmm. And then we've got Britt kind of like standing at the table, like, this is the resistance. These are all the heroes that have survived.
I love Donald's head.
Yeah, Donald's head floating. The pug, Le Bruiser.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
I love pugs, so I was like, ooh.
Mm-hmm. And so they're kind of talking about how they'll who's missing, where they're going to get in, how they're going to get in touch with everybody, and when they're going to have a counterattack. But in the meantime, they'll be safe. But
they don't even know what they're up against, though. So how could they even...
Oh, I know.
Form any semblance of a counterattack?
They're just trying to get everybody together to
even talk.
Have something.
Have something.
Yeah.
But turns out, Bulletproof betrayed them. So Robot and his drones show up, and Bulletproof saying, surrender. He's not going to kill us if we surrender. And,
I never seen that coming.
Right?
No, I didn't see it either.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when he's in
Invincible
suit. Like,
oh,
it bothers me
It's
more.
an ultimate portrayal.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So he's called a traitor by Britt. Donald takes off to go find the others, and everybody gets taken away. And I want to say that's the last we see of them in this volume. So
I think you're right.
There might be a quick pass, but
yeah.
Mark is at the Pentagon, flying at Rex and the Pentagon, which is already under construction. And they have a big talk here. This is a big discussion. Like, they talk more about how is this any different than what you and Dinosaurus were trying to do?
Well, we still don't even know exactly what he's going to do. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's really hard to even gauge what's...
Yeah. And Rex even says, he's like, at this point, I've already done so much that it would cause more harm to stop it. If you were to stop me now, more people would die, as opposed to where it's at now. And I like how Mark says that you're going to take over the world, you know, and he's like, don't be so childish. I've assumed control, but no one knows what I've done. Like, he's not a front facing person. He's doing all this behind the scenes. He doesn't want credit. He's seeing a problem and he's fixing it.
He always says he doesn't want credit, but I still just don't.
Yeah.
Agree with it.
Yeah.
As much, I guess.
So he's saying he's going to do this behind, you know, he says, I'm fixing things behind the curtain. And he's like, you know what this is? This is new. It's a new way of doing things, of fighting evil and saving the world. And it's messy and it's imperfect, but it's effective. But most of all, it's new. But don't be scared of the new. Embrace it and welcome it. More than anything else, don't make me kill you. And he says, I'm begging you, don't let me kill you. I don't want to do this. You know? So you decide what your future is. He says, what's it going to be? And then we get a couple pages of, or a couple panels. We see that Monster Girl is back in his custody. All the resistance are imprisoned. Bulletproof saying, I'm sorry it had to be this way. Mark goes back to Eve and she's saying, what happened? You know, like, I don't see, the news has been saying that everything's been better, everything's been changed for the better, but I don't see Rex. What's going on? And Mark just says he won. And we've got...
That makes me so sad.
Yeah. Like, he's so defeated. Like, and then it ends with flashbacks. These are all flashbacks of the actual dialogue, the same panels from the issues that they are, you know, that they come from. We've got one of the first issues here where Mark meets the teen team. We've got, you know, Rudy at the time telling Monster Girl that, you know, you were what inspired me. And then we've got Rudy taking on the name as Rex at Rex's funeral. And then lastly, you know, Rex telling Monster Girl that, you know, after what happened to them in the Flaxon dimension, he doesn't ever want to, you know, go back to that, you know, corrupted with power, you know, person again. He doesn't want to be that person. And just him, like, with his head in his hands. So that's it for that arc. Like, that was how that arc ended. It's kind of a bummer, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're obviously, like, just, like, sitting here and... Because it's
like, you're still contemplating.
Right.
And
it's a lot to take in. I mean, you guys are close to caught up. This is still a discussion we have. Like, we still discuss what he did. You know, like, how bad was what he did? Obviously, it was bad. Is he considered a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I mean, obviously, he did bad things, and he's terrible things.
But this has been the conversation about Invincible from the beginning.
From the very beginning.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And to me, too, it's like, he is trying to do it a little bit different this time. I mean, I can't remember if in the other volumes if he said, like, oh, but I never wanted to be a leader, or I never wanted... I remember him saying stuff like that. Like, I never wanted the credit.
Well, yeah, I think it was in the Flaxon dimension where all of a sudden they were, like, he was a king.
Yeah.
But he didn't care about that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean... He's admitting that he did like all of it, but he doesn't want to go back to it. But didn't he just do it all over again?
I think he sees a problem, and he's the kind of person that wants to fix a problem. You know, like
because all in all, he's not human.
Maybe. I mean, he's deformed. Is he not human? He was.
I thought he was pretty special.
He's like a super genius who was deformed as I don't know.
Okay.
But it's interesting. It's an interesting conversation to have, and it's going to be one that we have a lot, you know, over the next several issues.
Yeah.
Leading right up to where you are pretty much currently in the series. So, yeah, it was a lot, and that was exciting to read it month to month when it came out, because it was nonstop, and the art was gorgeous. Everything about it was just amazing. So, now we get issue 115, which is a break from Earth. We don't see Earth at all in this issue, I don't believe.
No.
And the cover is Battle Beast, and an awesome looking cover.
I know.
So here you got the return of Battle Beast.
Yes.
Starts off with him, you know, making love with his girlfriend,
Oh my.
Thresha.
Yeah. Sorry.
Great little relationship. Battle Beast gets word because he was sent out to hunt Thragg. Remember?
Yes.
That smile that he had when Alan told him, I want you to find
he's
Thragg.
Like, finally a worthy appointment. Yeah.
And so he's been orbiting this planet. Space Racer gave him confirmation. He's like, yep, he's right below you.
Yes.
And he just charges right into it. And I love this panel of him walking with both his like hammer and sword. They're huge. And Thragg's like, I've defeated you before, Easily, as I recall, yeah. So Thresha, meanwhile, sends all the Ragnars, which are those kind of dinosaur-type creatures that are able to hurt Viltrumites.
To help.
Yeah, to help him. And Battle Beast is pissed because he wanted a fair fight. But Thresha was saying, hey, Alan told me not to let you die. So she's doing what she can. She doesn't want him to die either. So she thinks that she's helping to kill Thragg. But in reality, Battle Beast doesn't like this. He wants, like he said that the Ragnars could have been released on his death.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, he's all about honor,
Exactly.
Like, I want to be the one that does it all
in a
by
clean
myself.
fight, too.
A clean fight, yes.
Which is all what most of this is. He helps him kill all the Ragnars, and Thragg Thragg gets his guts ripped out by one of the Ragnars, and Battle Beast is pissed because and then the alien race that are protecting the planet are come to Thragg's aid, and Thragg calls them off too because he's kind of in agreement. It's like, okay, I see how you are.
And he respects that.
He respects it. And Battle Beast says he will accept no advantage, takes his own sword, and slices his own stomach open so that it is an even fight between him and Thragg.
Which I think is bullcrap because Thragg is a much different being than freaking Battle Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. Do you think he could have taken him?
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know. So I think it was a pretty even fight. Yeah. And then Thragg's like, you treat this like a game. And Battle Beast is like, this is no game. This is what I live for. This is my life. Oh, the art in this issue.
I know.
My God.
I mean, that next page.
Of them running at each other.
Yes, I love it.
The faces in the background.
Yeah.
I know.
So epic. So, and then
much red.
Yeah, and then these panel after panel.
And for some reason, I always love the artwork when it's split like this across two pages.
Yeah, that's why I love that I own one of those pages where there's a long panel that goes down the page.
I like those for some reason. They stick out to me.
And with especially with Battle Beast and Thragg in the forefront, and it's him biting his eye, and then his eye is just split from then on. Ugh, gross.
I love it. I love it.
The fight doesn't end. The issue ends with showing the delivery room of all the babies.
Ugh.
Lots of babies, Brittany. I'm sorry.
It's not my worst
that's
nightmare.
That's why they showed all these alien women
just
pregnant.
Gross.
Yeah.
Like it was just.
I didn't know why all these alien women were pregnant.
Oh yeah, no, I got it right away.
Yeah, no.
I was grossed out, and I was like, you know what? That man's a genius.
Oh yeah.
And then I saw that, and I was like, oh.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
So nasty.
And you remember they age quickly, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, what Viltrumite, problem? There's plenty. So, yeah. And that's where 115 ends. So, 116. Trucking right along now. 116, we're back on Earth. This is, I love how this issue starts with William saying, of course I'm excited. It's a whole new world out there. And he goes on to tell how everything is better. Wars have pretty much ended. No troops are out there anymore. Everybody's come home. All college funding is free. Healthcare, universal healthcare for everybody. Crime has completely stopped. There are no more drug issues. You know, all hard drugs have disappeared. Nobody even makes them anymore. North Korea has been liberated. The space program has been expanded. Everything's amazing. This is all great. And it's just like, oh, and Mark puts it best, salt in the wound. Like,
Yeah.
they don't know what's going on. Like, they even say, you know, what are you talking about? Do you guys know something we don't? So
Yeah.
William and Rick don't know what's going on. Mark didn't fill them in. So they're the blissfully ignorant in this situation.
But then again, you hear all that stuff and you still contemplate, is he a bad guy or is he a good guy?
But that's what I mean. William doesn't know who Rex is.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying do we?
Yeah.
Yes,
No,
that's
us.
the thing. It sucks because you want him to be a bad guy. You
Right.
want it to be black and white. You want it to be easy. And it sucks. It sucks so bad because he did such awful things. And he probably went too far. And he did, you know, like...
And how did he do that? Like, what did he do? I'm like, this is...
To make it all... So all these
Yeah.
things happened?
And at once, like, so quickly.
Well, we don't know how much
this
time
is
has
over
passed.
time,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
still.
But still, yes. It's
Well,
crazy.
I'm sure we'll know how much time has passed once we see how big the child is.
So here we are. We've got Nolan and Debbie looking at their destroyed house. Nolan says that, you know, this confirms that they did the right thing. This is for the better. And then Mark and Eve are heading back to Eve's parents' house. And I love this, how Eve's basically saying, you know, at least, you know, dinner with my parents, if that won't take, you know, my mind off of what's going on, I don't know what will. And you turn the page and it's Battle Beast and Thragg fighting, which is a current.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's a common theme throughout the next few issues is that it just cuts to them still fighting. So dinner at Eve's parents, kind of the usual. I think, oh yeah, this pretty much goes on to them talking about what they're going to name the baby because they haven't come up with a name yet. And then the baby crying and Eve wanting to feed her at the table. And Eve's dad getting pissed off and storming away.
Again, another hot topic issue about nursing in public.
Nursing in public.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it was not even about it. It's at her freaking
It was at her parents'
parents' house.
And then there's the funerals. So here are the 3 funerals that they went to today, which is just today. Maybe there were more
I was
on
gonna
other
say,
days.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so we've got Black Samson's funeral, Knockout and Kid Thor's funeral, and then Cecil Stedman, who of course, you know, nobody was there because he was so high up in the government. It's probably an unmarked grave. It's just, you know, simple.
Poor guy.
Yep. And at each one, Rex was there. Rex was at each one, you know, standing among everybody, except for Cecil's. And, you know, Mark in the rain next to Cecil's coffin says, you know, that I think knowing that you probably would have worked with Rex, even after everything he'd done, he just doesn't know what he should have done. He was standing there at these funerals. I could have probably killed him. I could have crushed his head if I tried, but why did I stop? Should I have stopped? Like, he's going through the same thing we are as readers. Like, you know, should I stop this guy at this point? He just doesn't know what to do with himself. So, upon flying away, he runs into Immortal.
Yeah.
Who's basically saying we have to stop him. He's still all about the resistance.
Right.
You know, he wasn't
He's
there
like,
when the resistance was stopped. And, you know, Mark tells him that, like, hey, he's already attacked Eve. I don't know what else, you know, you want me to do. I can't put them in danger. And, you know, no, Immortal doesn't like that. You know, Mark basically says, though, like, hey, you retired, you went on vacation with your wife, had kids, like, why do I not deserve some peace and quiet, you know, pretty much? And I don't know.
I mean, it's a good point, too, you know, and he's still struggling with if it's bad, if it's good, all that kind of stuff, why he stopped, and he does. He just got Eve back. He just has a daughter. Like, again, his priorities are a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Back on the Viltrumite ship, Mark's talking to his dad, kind of like feeling him out on whether or not they can form an attack against Robot. And then Anissa shows up. He freaks out on her, tells her to back off, tells his dad, oh, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. Which, again, I don't know if he should have told him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But elsewhere, they're still fighting.
I know.
Thragg and Battle Beast are still fighting.
But I'm glad that they're still fighting because, like...
Well, it just shows you how strong they are.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because last time Thragg just, like, I thought decapitated him or broke his neck that, when he was floating in space for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad to see that.
It's a fight.
It's a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So even Mark are sitting there. She's kind of tossing out baby names and everything like that. But Mark is drifting, and he tells her what's on his mind. And it's that he doesn't think he can live in this world any longer, on this world any longer, and that he thinks that they should leave it. So, I never noticed it. That's Stay Puft Marshmallow Man up there.
Hey, look at that.
So, yeah.
It's on the next page.
He, if you guys remember, King Immortal
do I
in
remember?
the future.
I've been waiting for something like this.
Said, I thought you took your family and left Earth.
Yep.
That was a long time ago.
Yep.
So we've been waiting for that as well. So that finally happened. So here we are, issue 117. Only a few more of these in volume 10. Starts off with Mark picking up his comics. He hasn't been in 2 years. They make a nice little joke at Thor and how, Thor was a woman for a while, and how, poking fun also at the fact that Bulletproof was invincible for a little while.
Yeah,
and
sore subject.
Yeah. I like him keeping an eye on Amber.
Yeah.
And she has a good boyfriend. And that was it. That's all we see of Amber, is just him checking up on her, seeing that
just
she's
his
okay.
Little smile, and I know, I like that too.
So then Mark briefly fights a villain who is immediately brought down by Robot and all of his drones. And Robot basically says, hey, now that you've seen how things are, you think you'd come around to my side of things? And Mark's like, no, you're smart enough to know that'll never happen. So that's when D.A. Sinclair shows up and says, hey, he doesn't know, but, we've got something working on the inside, just so you know. You're not alone when you oppose him. My time is up. Think about it. So we know that D.A. Sinclair is a good guy, and he's on the inside.
Yeah.
But we don't find too much more about that yet. Mark and Eve go spend some time with the Immortal and Duplicate and their kids in their cottage, where they start trying to
talk about
rally them for the resistance. And Mark's like, no, we're leaving. So
we're done.
Yeah, we're done. Sorry. He tells Immortal that, hey, D.A. Sinclair's on the inside if you need him, but we're not a part of this. We're going into space. And that's it. And then we've got William. Like they basically say goodbye to William.
They're just saying their goodbyes and getting ready.
Yeah, I love William says, what actually ever happens in space? Cut to space of the biggest battle ever. And Thragg's skull showing, his eye gone. Like, God, it's disgusting. It's so awesome. Like this is such a great fight scene. So then after that, Eve tries to make love to Mark. He's not into it. Baby's crying. So we know that Mark is still kind of
suffering from the after effects.
From that, yep. And we get to see art. It's almost like this issue was kind of a goodbye to Earth. We're seeing we're
seeing everybody again, seeing their faces, kind of like closing up loose ends.
Mark says goodbye to his dad. He basically tells him, I don't agree with you, but I understand, and I guess that's going to be good enough.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then Eve and goes say, why even say goodbye to them? But whatever.
Oh my gosh, I love how Eve's like, "Wow, Dad, you really turned it around at the end there," because he's all freaking out about a bunch of stuff, and then at the end he's like, you're the strongest person we know, and you'll be fine out there. We love you. It's like, okay.
The mom's just sitting there sobbing.
Yeah, her mascara all over the place. So then Mark says goodbye to his mom. But yeah, it's a lot of goodbyes. Really cute. And then in the ship, as Mark and Eve are leaving Earth, this is it. They're leaving Earth. They look back on Earth, and Eve says she's got it. She's got a name for their daughter. And they're going to name her Tara.
Yeah.
You like that?
I do. I did like it. And I like the way that's spelled.
What, Terra?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So, in the last 3 issues of Volume 10 marks the beginning of a new tone for the series. What?
I just couldn't help but laugh when that first page, the baby's face,
118.
when they're flying.
Mm-hmm.
Chunky cheeks.
And he's got the little snacks of
Chevy
whatever
cheeks.
they are.
The Canslock or whatever. Canslock.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is, I want to say, previously, if you look, I mean, you guys don't see it in the hardcovers, but the issues used to say, the best superhero comic in the universe, or probably the best superhero comic in the universe. But anyways, that's evolved over time. This is the first time where it said the best superhero comic in the universe, but superheroes crossed off to say the best comic in the universe. Because suddenly it's becoming more than just a superhero comic, as you guys get to see a little taste of within these next couple of issues. They're starting a new life of their own on Telestria, and it's very much a family kind of comic for the next few issues, which is cute. They've got the baby and everything. So Alan's there to greet them. I love Tara bopping him in the eye.
I know. That was so stinking cute.
And then
his bodyguards.
Yeah, his bodyguards, showing up, which again, especially this scene, it's The Rock, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Please
absolutely.
be The Rock. Please, somebody listening, please make this The Rock.
He's perfect. It's like
The smile, the demeanor. Oh my gosh, I can see it all.
And he has the humor, but also like I'ma kill you.
Yeah.
Like, he's
like,
got all of it.
A big softie. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my gosh, it's perfect. I'm gonna write him a fan letter.
Right.
Like he was.
Well, let's send him the first volume.
This is you right here.
He'd circle it.
Like he's in the newer the movies that just came out.
The Fast and the Furious.
The Fast and Furious, but he's also in like The Pacifier.
Oh yeah.
Like
he's in the new movie for Jungle Cruise. He's going to be in the Jumanji sequel. He's going to be in Baywatch. He's in a ton of stuff. But yeah, he's in kids movies, PG-13 movies, R movies. Yeah. He could do it.
Ford commercials.
Man, he sings
commercials.
He sings You're Welcome.
Yeah.
That's right. He was in Moana.
Yeah.
So,
okay, our rock crush is over. Thanks for letting me get that out. So not only could we possibly see one of the Franco boys, but we can also see The Rock. This is going to be my favorite movie ever.
Oh my God. It has potential.
It has so much potential.
Man. So Alan greeted them, but he said that he was hoping somebody else would be able to greet them.
Uh-huh.
And guess who shows up to say, sorry, I lost track of time.
I can't believe how big he looked. I was like, oh my gosh, Oliver.
Last time you guys saw him.
Looks just like Mark.
Yep.
Oh my God, I love it.
Like, it's Mark when we first started reading this.
You're right. That does kind of look like a Mark like that. Yep. Kind of young in the face and just... He's last time you saw him, he was a little purplish and he had long hair, right?
Yes.
He was kind of that. He had that red and black costume and.
Yep. Oh my gosh, he looks great! I was so excited, and like you said, this is such a family comic, and it just like kept going. Like, here's Alan, here's Oliver.
Yeah, here's
everybody's
everybody.
back, gang.
And Oliver's like, hey, you can have dinner with me and my girlfriend, and he's like, it's pretty serious.
/ we have 20 babies. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, they settle into their apartment. We've got a dirty diaper joke, and then they all pass out on the couch.
Yeah, so sweet.
So now we've got another another attempt, I guess I could call it, of Eve trying to make love to Mark.
She is a horny beast. Like Mark he's never the one to initiate it. It's always Eve.
You know what? I think you're right.
It is always Eve.
Yeah.
Then he's a lucky man.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And you have to think, though,
she hasn't.
They haven't. Yeah, she hasn't had sex in a year probably now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because he was gone all that time.
Yeah.
The 6 months.
And they haven't since she broke up with him.
Pre-baby.
So it was
Right.
pre-baby. Yeah.
So probably a year.
Yep.
She's allowed to be like, Eve gonna
So
get me some.
So I guess that kind of makes sense. You're right.
She gets pissed.
So Mark freaks out, but
Yeah.
at that moment, Oliver
Someone
arrives.
Comes home. Yeah.
Yep. So there's Oliver and his girlfriend,
Well,
Haluma.
But he did say that he had a thing for the lobsters and the.
Right? Isn't that funny?
So
Like,
I mean, it made sense.
Okay, but
when did he say that?
when he was talking to his dad, having the heart to heart when Mark
You're
was
right.
yelling.
Thank you. So how funny. And I made a point to make sure we said that on the episode because I wanted you guys to remember that. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh yeah, him saying that he once saw lobsters in a tank at a restaurant and felt kind of attracted to them.
Yep.
So we knew back then that he wasn't attracted to humans because he's not human, and that part of his DNA or whatever it is, that half of him is more attracted to bug-like creatures.
Yeah.
So
But-
here's his girlfriend.
But that bug-like girlfriend, her face looks like a lady part.
Mm.
I'm telling you. Can we just look at that? It's terrible.
Uh,
You see it now. You can't unsee it.
Yeah.
You can't unsee it. Sorry. I ruined it for everybody.
wait, does it show them kissing this?
I don't know.
Because you'll get
Maybe
to see
later. Yeah.
that.
I can't remember if it's
So,
this
yeah.
one or the last one.
Haluma shows up to make them dinner, and she's chopping away. And I love how Oliver's like, I mean, did you see those mandibles? Mark's like, yeah, they're very nice. Yeah. So she prepares this big meal full of crazy looking alien food. It's kind of like a twisted version of, Hook.
Yeah.
You know, all the colors and yeah, Oliver's like, hey, trust me, you got to try it.
They love it.
Yeah. And Mark's like, yeah, this food is amazing. So they chow down. Eve doesn't look quite as appetized.
Wow, she's not.
Yeah. And then there's Mark. So
This.
I'm a terrible person.
But this brought me right back to the very beginning.
Oh,
where
him on the toilet?
he was on the toilet when it
was like the opening
first.
scene.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I forgot. What did you
Yeah,
say?
the opening scene, the very first issue of Invincible is him flying with his teacher as a bomb and him throwing the teacher and saying like, man, if I keep this up, I'm going to give myself a heart attack. And then you turn the page and it's him on the toilet reading a comic book and his mom's knocking on the door saying, if you keep that up, you're going to give yourself a heart attack.
I totally forgot about that.
So yeah, it's him on the toilet. So
maybe he's trying to push something out, something fierce.
Yep. So yeah, the alien food isn't sitting well. I never noticed. Is Eve breastfeeding in this?
Yes.
Oh, I never noticed that.
Yeah, well, because then she says, feeding her. Oh, she's finally done. Can I come in?
Oh yeah, she says I'm trying to feed her.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mark's face in this, and oh
hilarious.
man. So yeah, we've got a good solid 5 pages of
some good
poop
humor.
joke. Yeah. Here it is. Like
The poop jokes.
I mean, like Mark's saying, "Don't come in," and like, "Oh no, watch your hair."
I think I broke it.
Yeah. And she's like, and it turns. She finds a button. And it's like a blender, and they're just sitting there and like, oh. And I love it. Eve's like, I don't know what to say. That came out of you. I don't think I'll ever be able to look at you the same.
This is so embarrassing.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Mark, I'm gonna go take a shower for the rest of the day. So Eve says, that didn't even faze me. I'm in it for the long haul. And then we've got a nice page of them kissing. Which we haven't seen in a long time. Mm-hmm. But Mark pulls away, and he finally tells her. He says, Anissa, she forced herself on me. She raped me. And he's like, I had just gotten back, and you broke up with me, and she attacked me. I refused, and she just wouldn't stop. And Eve's saying, we can get through this together. And Mark's saying, no, you don't understand. I didn't want to. I told her to stop, but I feel like I could have fought back more. And I should have tried everything to stop her, and I didn't. I can't stop thinking about how I hold back on purpose. I didn't want to. So this is what's been bothering him so much. Not necessarily the fact that it happened to him, that he was raped, but it's the fact that could he have done more?
Right. But he was so gone emotionally. He just...
And Eve's upset by this, and she walks away to find Tara not breathing in her crib.
Yeah.
And that's how that issue ends. So, that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And issue 119 is them quickly panicking to get Tara to the hospital. They're flying around an alien planet. Nobody's speaking English. They're trying to get to a hospital. Someone finally points them in the right direction. And the doctor says that he can't treat her because she's part Viltrumite. And Mark threatens the doctor. And the doctor takes her away. He agrees, yeah. Oliver shows up with Haluma, and he freaks out on them, saying it's her fault. What did you feed us? It had to have been something you fed us. And I love Haluma's response. She's like, you brought a baby to an alien planet, moron. Think about the radiation from a different sun, or the particles in the air, or any kind of germ or bacteria that she might not have a resistance to before you blame my food. Yeah. So he calls her a bitch.
Oliver's got a feisty woman.
Yeah. So, but Mark's clearly just a wreck
Upset.
right now.
He's looking
upset.
to
Mm-hmm.
solve a problem.
Mm-hmm. I like Haluma saying, your brother's a jerk. But yeah, Tara's okay. The doctor, is, with her, saying you have a lovely child. He said that, based on what Eve has told me, Tara ingested some sort of vegetation that caused her blood to become overly oxidized, through the breast milk. So, basically, you're going to have to schedule a diet with a dietary consultant, with one of our nutrition experts, and like this whole
normal
schedule
baby
and
stuff.
Is that normal baby stuff?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
But
Wow.
how are they supposed to know? I mean, it's
that's
an
the point.
alien baby, like from.
Right.
That's the
Well,
point.
there's a dietitian that can help her know
Yeah,
what to eat.
like
what's
this is
healthy, what's not.
a planet filled with several alien races and everything like that. They have to. I mean, obviously they're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
But like, this is your department, Liz.
No, I mean, there's different foods and things that you have to stay away from. Shouldn't eat this and that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Scheduling, all that.
Like kids can't have peanuts and everything, peanut butter, all
Right.
that kind of stuff.
Not until they're over a year.
Yeah, but it's like that kind of stuff. Like
Egg.
they're new parents,
Right.
Like, and not only those normal things, but they're on an alien planet, like Haluma was saying. So, meanwhile,
And then the fight is still
Thragg
happening.
and Petalbeast are still
little-
fighting.
And I love how they are losing more and more clothes as the fight
Oh,
continues.
of course. Yeah. Getting bloodier and bloodier, less and less clothes. I love how Alan is like, they're still fighting? It's been days. So, Space Race are still monitoring them.
The Rock?
So when he
Rock.
was like, it's been days. Like I literally, just from having like the poop scene, I was like, how did they go to the bathroom? If they're fighting for days.
They just let it
Man,
out.
they probably just go.
They just go.
They
They
just
just
go.
go. And like a nod back to like Dragon Ball Z. This is how the fights
Would
are
look, yeah.
for days like this.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Like epic. Yes.
I love that scene of them flying at each other. It reminds me a lot of Invincible flying up at Conquest.
Yeah.
So, which I think our friend Mike Barrett has that page. So,
That's cool.
oh yeah. So Mark and Alan sit together. Mark agrees to kind of help out Alan on some less dangerous activity, just kind of.
Finding a purpose and meaning on this planet.
Mark says he gets to be a space spy, and then offers him some Canslock, which are the things that Alan's always eating ever since the first issue we saw him in.
I always forget what they're called.
Yeah, and I love how Mark was like, okay, I'll try it. And he's like, Jesus, that's good. Like this whole time.
And then I was like, when we turn the page, I'm going to see him on the toilet again. I was just like waiting for it,
A great page of Mark flying through, looking around at everything crazy. And just...
I at first thought this was Oliver when I turned the page
Oh,
because
yeah?
it looked so young.
Mhm.
So I was kind of like, is this, what's going on?
Ollie
with
did a
this?
good job making them look similar, like brothers.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I like how Mark wears a lot of blue and Oliver wears a lot of red.
Yeah.
You'll notice that too. And Mark's like, this is going to take some getting used to. So then it's just kind of through the daily motions. They make food.
Life, bedtime,
bedtime,
do dishes.
And
sit on the tablet or the iPad.
sitting on the couch.
ignoring
ignoring
other.
each other. And then Eve brings up Anissa, and she basically calls him out on his bullshit. And she's like, no. I was still processing when she said when she walked away from him, she was still processing it, but she's had a lot to think about, and not a single thing was your fault. You can't blame yourself. We'll work through this. And so that kind of settles it. You know what I mean? Like, it's done. It's okay. We're going to be fine.
It's accepted. It's, let's move on from this.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that they are able to accept everything that each other has gone through.
Yeah.
It's a good relationship building like this.
And then the issue ends with Alan arriving and saying, so we know where Thragg is, and he might be weak. And if Battle Beast doesn't kill him, we need you to go finish him. Finish him off. And that's how that issue ends, with Mark kind of being posed with that question. But this next issue, the final issue of Volume 10, issue 120, you knew this was coming, right?
Okay, yes.
So,
now that we're here,
we're at the moment.
This is the moment, the big moment that was ruined for me a while ago. So, it didn't change
the epicness of it.
The epicness
because
or what's about to happen in any way. If anything, it just made me want to
get to it. Yeah. So you've seen Battle Beasts on Thragg's shoulder.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was so mad.
Yeah.
I was so mad. I think I actually threw my phone at the couch. I was so mad. But it's still
But he got what he wanted.
Exactly.
It's a page of him saying thank you.
Oh my God, how long did it take? Oh gosh, the artwork.
Right? Look at that.
That would have taken forever to draw.
It's so true. Oh.
And color.
Mm-hmm.
And just still
a few markers of red.
He's gone through a few markers.
So
Thragg wins. He says it's done. Which, by the way, the cover is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life. The popped eye, the slit eye, not even a popped eye, a slit eye. I looked at it for a second, then I had to look away. That's disgusting. It's so gross.
See, now you know me. I'm
I know.
I love when they show that.
His
skull. The puncture in his skull. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it.
Mm-mm. Gross.
It's so gross. It's so gross to
it's
love.
Awesome. It's amazing. But damn. So Thragg finishes it and then passes out. Yeah. Thresha is obviously overwhelmed, wants to just die. She wants to die too, so she wants to go down shooting.
I love that she talks kind of like Yoda.
Yeah, it's
that,
clear that English isn't her first language. Yeah. Want to die, I do. Be with my beloved, I will. Yeah, totally Yoda.
Yeah, that's Yoda.
You're right. So Space Racer knocks her out, and
then it shows, the blue and red Oliver and Mark.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's just so cool. It's a very superhero-esque kind of thing to give them a color, you know? So, yeah. That's them showing up to where the battle was.
Yes, yeah. And they're kind of talking about everything. And, they talk about the baby. Kind of just life as they're checking everything out.
Yeah. I like the old...
Telescreen?
No, they're not Telescrians.
It's whatever Oliver's mother is.
Yes, I can't remember the name of that species.
Me either.
But anyways, there's an old one that approaches them, and he's like, the one known as Battle Beast was able to destroy many of our cities and kill many of our kind before Monarch Thragg defeated him. His body was buried in a mass celebration that was held long ago.
Like yesterday.
Probably, because they age so fast. That's what's so funny about this. So, yeah. Then you get your another call back to Star Trek. Yep. So they're out there.
Scotty.
Yep, they're out there searching for Thragg in the remains, and they find Space Racer and Thresha.
She's just so distraught.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you say Space Racer, it plays in my head Space Racer,
kind of like a Transformers.
Yes.
Okay, I think of Speed Racer.
Speed Racer.
And
then
was that just on the trailer? Because Billy and I rewatched the movie, and it's totally.
I think it was only in the trailer because it was on TV the other day.
It's driving me nuts. So anyway,
I know.
Sorry, sidebar.
So they recover Space Racer. He's gonna be fine. Thresher's okay, but they have to restrain her. And I like that moment of Space Racer and Thresher, like him consoling her that he's actually gone.
And she's settled down. And
so did Battle Beast, did he have his own comic? Or was he just in a lot of...
No, he was only ever in this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And he really wasn't in that much of it. No. He just had cameos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And every scene that he had his cameo was awesome. It was always like a big deal. So back on Earth, Mark is woken up early by a crying baby. And he's like, I love how he's like, oh man, somebody missed her daddy. Look at you. Stop crying at the mere sight of me. I rock.
I love
and it's
it.
Great 2-page splash of her, all cute. So, and then I love this. This is, what is it? A 16 panel page of all the different things. It's like a daddy-daughter day.
I see this like happening super fast.
Oh,
like all of this happens within like, a half hour. Mm-hmm. Then he's like, oh gosh, what do I do next?
Mm-hmm.
Is she in purple because Eve is pink and he's always in blue? So
oh my God. I've never picked up on that. Good job. Oh yeah, and then I love him talking to her, and he's like just telling her stories about how he was terrified when your mother was pregnant, and but seriously, you make me so happy. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. I mean, look at you, and she like thwomps over, and picks her back up.
Don't judge. I don't judge.
Yeah. He's like, I promise you right now, and I'm going to keep it, I swear. I will always be here for you. I'm not going to get killed. I'm not going to get lost in another dimension. I'm not going to disappear. I'm going to be careful, oh so careful for you and your mommy. But mostly, if I'm honest, if you ever need to talk to someone, when you're able to talk, I'll be there. And when you're older, or if you come home drunk, or wreck our spaceship, or flying car, or whatever, I'll scold the hell out of you, because that's my job. But deep down, I'll just be happy that you're okay. And all I ask in return is don't ever throw up on my back again. That was horrible. Great writing. I love that daddy-daughter day whole thing.
Okay, so can we just address daddy-daughter day? Because she wakes up.
Oh, yeah. I guess it wasn't daddy-daughter day.
See, this is what I'm saying.
No, you're right. You're right. It was him in the morning. You're right. So all that was happening pretty quickly.
No, but he said
in the
later
middle of the night
that she's like, oh, look, we'll go out for breakfast. He goes, no, it'll be lunch.
Yeah, because she says, how late did I sleep? And he's like, just a few hours. You clearly needed it. It gave Tara and me some daddy-daughter time. That's what it is, daddy-daughter time. Yeah. So,
I should give more credit. All right.
Yeah, yes. So, they go out for lunch, they're exploring the alien planet. And
I see this is like a montage.
It totally is. It totally is. They help this little creature get its cat thing out of the tree rock crystal, and then it eats the cat thing because it's its food.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah,
it's just like
I like Mark walking away. It's an alien planet. It's an alien planet. It's an alien planet. Like it's just so much different stuff.
Oh yes.
So, and so they're kind of in a rhythm. That's kind of showing that Mark and Eve are in a rhythm. They've got a life they're trying to live now. We don't see Earth anymore, and this volume 10 ends with so many purple babies. Remember when Oliver looked like that?
Yeah.
A lot of little babies.
And he was so smart.
Mm-hmm. So smart.
And he already didn't have that remorse or even care about the human race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So these are, and he's going to raise them up the way he wants.
Yep. And
so he's surrounded by more of those women, and his health is improving. And there's Battle Beast on his shoulder, a constant reminder to all of us.
And again,
oh my God, I didn't even notice that was Battle Beast.
Britt. Yeah, he's wearing him.
Yes.
That's so fucked up.
I'm so glad you realized that on the podcast.
Yes, that's what I got ruined.
Oh my God, well, he's always wearing that big fucking thing.
Yeah, you're right.
It didn't even fit.
Yep. Right? It makes it terrible.
Oh, no.
He's wearing it with honor and pride, though. But see, even at this point, I still didn't know that it was him with all the babies.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you assume, but to, have that affirmation, I was like, you some bitch.
Oh my God, he's wearing Battle Beast.
I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
So messed up.
So fucked up. Oh my God. Especially because they said we buried him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, apparently.
Well,
He
they
dug
might have
him
buried
up.
some of them.
Some pieces.
Oh,
Yeah, because he skinned them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
ugh.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh, what an asshole.
So there's Battle Beast. So
All right.
that was volume 10. Volume 11 comes out in 2 weeks. How perfect is that?
It's super perfect.
So that worked out really well. Now, if you were to read volume 11 right now and finish it, you would only be 6 issues behind. No, I'm sorry. Like 3 issues behind.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's-
wow.
So pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
the issues that you're going to be reading in volume 11, we were reading 4 months ago. So it's time.
We're in it.
It's time. You're in
Yeah.
it now. There's not much more to like spoil. You're not going to have to worry about too much stuff. I mean, you definitely, especially these next issues coming out right now, because the final 12 issues are a big deal,
I'm sure, yeah.
obviously. And so there's a lot going on. So for the next month, be wary of things.
Does it feel rushed for you? Like, because you know it's coming to an end?
Not really.
No?
Not
Okay.
really. Because it's...
I'm always nervous. Like,
Yes, I think because the announcement was made and it's like there's going to be 12 issues, and then we knew for about 6 to 8 months, like, hey, when those issues start, they're going to be the final 12.
Yeah.
And so, and the way they're happening, it's exciting. It's exciting, and the issues feel longer. Like there's a lot in them. So I don't know. It's gonna be exciting.
But do you feel like it's actually going to end? Like, do you think there'll be an ending, like an official ending? Or do you think they'll, like, hint something at the end that, like, they can always bring something back?
I know. And that's a tough discussion because I hope it ends. I hope it's like a definitive conclusion. Like, definite. Yes. Like, this is the entire Invincible collection. Obviously, there's still spin-offs, even outside the Invincible collection.
Right.
So part of me would be okay if there was spin-offs after it ends, but I want this story to end.
Ryan needs closure.
I do.
I think I'm going to need closure.
Yeah.
Like,
Because think
for
about
sure.
it. What if the movie is a huge success? Like, are they not going to do more? Like, are we going to see it in TV form? Are we going to see spin-off
But
comics?
that's
Like,
exactly...
we're still going to get Invincible, I feel. Like,
Yeah,
video
just in a
games, we're still going to
different-
get stuff. So part of me feels like, and we've talked about this in the past, we touched on it a little bit at the beginning of this episode, The Last Airbender. The movie sucked.
No, it didn't.
I'm sorry, Brittany.
Brittany.
But did you watch the cartoon?
No.
Okay. Oh my God.
That's what I said. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it.
The
It's so
cartoon
good.
is so good and it's definitive. It ended. Like,
Yes.
we have a complete story. Sure, there's the spin-off of Korra, which if you like it, great. I think it's awesome. It's good. Yeah, that's great. But you can look at those 3 seasons of the original Airbender series and be like, that was awesome. You don't have to think about the movie. That's kind of what I want for Invincible. I want this series to just end. And then if something else comes, it could be good
That's
or bad.
fine.
Whether
Right.
it's good or bad doesn't affect the fact that we will have 12 volumes of awesome Invincible.
Yes. Okay. I gotcha.
So that's where I stand on that.
Yeah. Oh.
But it's exciting. You're so close.
Well, and now
You're
I'm
so
like,
close.
what
what
is
she said.
what is Thragg up to? Like,
Mhm. Yeah, what do you think's gonna happen? You're like, what's happening? Like, what's
yeah.
going on Earth?
Well, doesn't matter what's going on Earth because he's got his own breeding ground,
Even fuck. Yes.
right?
I think that there's obviously some strong characters like with Alan and Nolan and shit, all of Robot's army, like
So he was,
Think of it
this
this-
was really smart. So,
Yeah.
that they can all just fucking get together and
well, here's the thing: is obviously Thragg did what he or is doing what he's doing to get back at Nolan,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like the whole epic battle between Robot is going to like happen at the same time. So we're gonna have all these baby Thraggs and robots
And Viltrumites.
and Ultramites. It's gonna be like,
And then there's Invincible.
oh, like yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Think of
spanning
it-
out from all over.
Now
Hopping
think of
over the
all
place.
those things that you just said. Now think of it this way. You have like about 22, 23-ish issues left of Invincible total. That's not for you to get caught up. That's including the end.
Yeah. Oh wow.
That's what I mean. You only
And
have...
these are
you-
like what, 10?
Those are the hardcovers are between 10 and 12 or
Yeah.
so. So 12 will be the final one to come out ever. So you only have 11 and 12. And that's it. So all those storylines that you just talked about have to be done by 2 more volumes.
2 volumes.
dang.
Yeah. So yeah, we're nervous that it's not going to get wrapped up. That there's going to be things that we want closure on.
Ended that just don't. Yeah.
So hopefully they do. You know, I mean, Kirkman's even said there are some things that he doesn't view as cliffhangers. That if it's ended, then hey, sorry, that's how it ends. Some things don't have a big definitive ending. It just might be that.
It is what it is.
Which I'm afraid that's what Robot is. He fixed the world
because everything's happy, and it's like, what else could there be? Like, why do anything else?
But D.A. Sinclair said,
"Oh, that's
we're ready." So that's why.
And there's still the resistance.
Yes. Yeah.
So you want to know what happens to them. Like, Bulletproof just betrayed them all. Like, there's still more story. It's exciting. Very exciting. Thank you all for listening. We've been going for probably close to 2 hours.
Oops. It's probably our norm.
It is pretty close to. I feel like every volume we get a little bit longer. But that's great. I mean, if you have any questions or if you have any comments you'd like to share with us, email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter, find us on Facebook. Write to us. We love hearing from you. That does it for us. I mean, we'll probably be back next month with Volume 11. A new issue comes out next week. Check out the Invincible Fans Facebook page. They might still be doing their contest. Volume 11 next and like later this month. So hardcover Volume 11 will be out. The girls are going to be reading that, and we're all going to be excited, to talk about that next month. And then we're going to have to figure out what you guys are going to do to catch up. Do we have you guys do the first 6 issues and then come on a new reader or new issue episode? Like, do you guys want to be on the new issue episodes with us, or do you want to wait till the very end? Like, I don't know what to do. So we're gonna have to think about that. Let us know what you want to hear. Thank you, Liz, for joining us.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thanks, Brett. All right, bye.
We out.